Well, hello everyone out there in the football world. We are the Head Couch Analysts, and I am your host, Sanders. As usual, I am joined by my co-host, Pardue. How you feeling, man? It is Super Bowl week. The Super Bowl is just in 3 days. Oddly enough, I don't think it feels like it's coming up, but I'm still excited for the game. How about you?
Yeah, man, I'm doing pretty good. It's Thursday. We are recording a little late. That's okay. But yeah, I'm doing pretty good. It is Thursday. Tomorrow's Friday. Should be an easy day for me. I'm ready for the weekend. I'm ready for the Super Bowl. I wish the Cardinals were playing this weekend, but, as they always say, there's always next year.
By the way, not speaking of always next year. By the way, I would like to say thanks to everyone out there. We finally got to 100 viewers on our first video last week. That's awesome, and we officially hit the double decades in subscribers at 20. Thank you so much for those who listen. Thanks for tuning in. It's awesome that we got there. Special shout out to Allie for helping us get there as well. That was a really fun episode we did last week.
Yeah, for real. Major shout out to you guys. Thanks for listening to us. We know we're not putting out the world's most, incredible content, but we really appreciate that you guys give us a listen every week. And although we're small, we're continuing to grow, and we really appreciate you guys.
Oh, yeah. I for sure love it. And keep a lookout in this offseason. We're going to try and be expanding the platforms we're on. I've been looking into how we can get ourselves onto Spotify and other things like that, so we'll be more easily accessible as well. So yeah, be on the lookout for that one. I'm going to try and get us onto Spotify by the time we have our special Arizona guest coming out. I think it'd be the right time to do it.
Yeah, that'd be big. That'd be big.
So, alrighty then. I think that's enough for that. We're celebrating 100 views. The NFL has celebrated over 100 years, and we currently have a quarterback who is celebrating 10 Super Bowl appearances. Let's get into this, and let's talk about Tom Brady. If you've been on this show before, you know that we over here, I love Tom Brady. Pardue might not say he loves Tom Brady. I love Tom Brady. I love the character. I love the personality. I love the player. Pretty much love everything about him. For those who like to say he's a whiner, I'm on the side.
So is every quarterback.
I was going to say, it's a competitive spirit thing. And when you play competitive sports, right, I think there's a difference between yelling at your teammate because something went wrong, right, and trying to be a perfectionist, and actually being a whiner. I think a great example of this is the difference between Odell Beckham and Tom Brady, right? If you look at someone like Tom Brady, usually when he's yelling at someone, it's because something didn't happen like it was supposed to. When you see Aaron Rodgers yelling at someone, it's because he's yelling at someone for doing something they weren't supposed to. Or just really any quarterback was like that, right? Whereas someone like Odell Beckham just whines and cries that he doesn't get the ball more. And that's not really the way to go about it, I feel. So, I love him. I love the player, love the competitor that he is. He's gone to 10 Super Bowls. I've been watching football for at least, I'm almost 25, and I've been watching for at least 22 years. I really remember my first football game being like when I was 3 or 4. The first Super Bowl I actually remember was actually a Patriots Super Bowl from 2001. That is the first Super Bowl I remember. I don't remember watching John Elway beat the Falcons. I don't remember the Ravens beating the Giants. Super Bowls from when I was 3 and 4, I don't remember. I remember it when I was 5, but that would be because my grandma is a Patriots fan, and we were watching at her house that year. I remember the Raiders Buccaneers Super Bowl, but I don't know. I remember watching it on the TV, and I remember the spot I was sitting in, but I don't remember it outside of that, right? I have memories of the Patriots-Panthers Super Bowl. We went to a hotel to watch it because when we lived in Cheyenne, Wyoming at the time, that city, despite it being a capital of the United States, was so deserted of population they didn't have regular TV for the Super Bowl. So we had to go to a hotel to watch the Super Bowl that year.
Jeez.
Yeah, not kidding.
Wow.
So we watched the Panthers-Patriots Super Bowl. I remember the Panthers-Eagles Super Bowl against McNabb. That was another Patriot one. I remember what I thought was the most boring Super Bowl of all time at the time. The Seahawks-Steelers one that ended 21-10. And then we saw Seahawks Broncos. Turns out that was worse. And then Patriots Rams came out, and that was worse. And that was just 2 years ago. But if you notice, through all the Super Bowls I remember, the Patriots are sprinkled in there every time. And that means Tom Brady is sprinkled in there every time. Here we are, a year where the Patriots are not in the Super Bowl. And yet Tom Brady is still in the Super Bowl because he is representing the NFC now. This man has pretty much won the Super Bowl in every way possible. Through game management, through making clutch drives, through making a comeback, through offensive scoring sprees. Pretty much any way you can think about it, he's won. And the only times he's lost have been to, like, stupid plays, like the David Tyree catch, right? Or the one from 2011. Was it Victor Cruz who caught that, like, incredible sideline catch?
You're thinking Mario Manningham.
Was it Mario Manningham? Okay.
I think it was Mario Manningham.
But you know what play I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. And then there was I hate calling it the Philly special because that's not what it is. It's just a trick play with the quarterback, but they call it the Philly special because Philadelphia did it. You know, and it's just one of those, you know, it tells you that it's just one play that can make a difference. And to be fair to Tom Brady, there have been some ridiculous things that have happened in his favor, like the Malcolm Butler interception, the Julian Edelman catch. I think it was that catch was 51 yards versus the Falcons. Adam Vinatieri's clutch kick at the end of the Panthers-Patriots game. Like, there's a lot of things you could talk about that went into Tom Brady's favor as well. At the end of the day, this man's been to 10 Super Bowls. You can't really deny that is greatness, right? You know, cheating and scandals and conspiracy theories be damned. He's done it 10 times. I don't know how you can hate the guy anymore. This guy has a massive legacy. I've talked about Tom Brady for 2.5 minutes now. Please take me away from the mic.
Yeah. Yeah. When you said you loved Tom Brady and that you didn't know how, you know, personally I felt, I'll put it this way. I used to really, really hate Tom Brady. I really did. And I did think previously he was pretty pompous and he was kind of a dick and he was kind of a whiner and the whole cheating scandals, yada, yada, yada. He was the hateable face, but it was also because you were jealous that your quarterback wasn't doing that. Especially as a Cardinal fan when I was sitting through Max Hall and John Skelton and all those guys like that. What Tom Brady's done isn't going to happen again. And people like to predict and say that Patrick Mahomes is on the train of, you know, surpassing everything that Tom Brady's done. And we'll get into that a little bit in a minute. But if you ask me, nobody's touching what Tom Brady's done in this league, and I don't think even Patrick Mahomes can. What he's done, I feel like, while people hate him and the guy he is and what he's accomplished, I think you just got to respect it. Even if you do hate the guy, you can't say he's trash, and that's like what people say. They're like, "Oh, he's trash this, he's trash that." You can hate him. But you got to admit, this guy's absolutely insane. He might not be the most talented quarterback of all time in terms of physical attributes, but in terms of the things he's accomplished, it'll never be matched. It's just incredibly impressive what he's accomplished, not only in the NFL, but just as an athlete, period. Yeah, it's incredible. And honestly, while I still don't even know who I'm picking yet, I know who I do want to win it. And honestly, just because we aren't going to see it again, and because I want to see BA get a ring as a head coach, I want to see Tom Brady get his 7th. And I know he's had plenty, but that's part of what makes you great is it's not this one, it's the next one.
It's kind of like...
And it'll be just like that if Tom does win on Sunday. It's not going to be about this one. It's going to be about the next one because they're going to go right back at it next year.
You know, it's kind of like what I think it was Al Michaels once asked Tom Brady, what's your favorite Super Bowl moment? And Tom Brady's response was the next one. He never talks about the past. He just says the next one. He's focused on the next thing. And it's amazing how he's able to leave behind so many things that he's done and just set it aside and say, yeah, I'm Tom Brady and I can do it. But I can do it in the sense that, like, I did do it. Can I do it again? Right? He's got this drive to always show that, hey, I can do this again. Hey, I can do this again. Hey, I can do it, I can do it, I can do it, I can do it. And we talked about it on the show last week, but I want to emphasize to you guys something here. I absolutely love Patrick Mahomes, and I think I'm always going to appreciate his greatness, even at the times when Chiefs fans will get annoying. And trust me, in about 3 to 4 years, they will be insufferable at that point. I promise you.
They already kind of are.
I don't think they're insufferable yet, just annoying. But they will get there, kind of like Patriots fans did at the height of the 3 or 4 year Super Bowls, right? They will get there. But when it comes to actually looking at just the quarterback, Patrick Mahomes, I am going to appreciate him, and I'm not going to make the mistake of disliking him like I did Tom Brady at first. I didn't start loving Tom Brady till his comeback against the Falcons. It was that game that I fell in love with Tom Brady, the player. And once he created his social media 2 years ago, I'm like, oh, he's a great personality too. What the heck is this? Right? So it's not till recently that I found this love for Tom Brady. But it was in that moment when I saw the Julian Edelman catch, when I saw them driving the ball, when James White punched in the touchdown to seal the overtime win, I was like, this is it. Well, I'm never going to see that kind of Super Bowl ever again. I'm never going to watch a quarterback win this many Super Bowls again, and I'm never going to see a guy who's ever been this good. And ever since 2015, I've always been a Brady supporter. If he wins, hey, I get to watch more of this. That's how I feel about it now. I get to watch more of it because I'll never see it again. And going back to Patrick Mahomes, I will probably never get to see a quarterback as good of a start as he is. It's probably not going to happen. Maybe with Trevor Lawrence it'll happen, but probably not. It didn't happen with Andrew Luck, and Andrew Luck was hyped as all hell. And Andrew Luck was great. We love Andrew Luck on this show, right? But Andrew Luck didn't have the start that Patrick Mahomes has had, as great as he was coming out of college. And Trevor Lawrence might be great coming out of college, and he might be great playing, but I don't think he'll have Patrick Mahomes started. As we said last week, Patrick Mahomes is an offsides penalty away from being in the Super Bowl 3 years in a row. Just one. That being said, Tom Brady has spoiled people, which is what I was getting into thinking Super Bowls are easy to come by. Think of how many great quarterbacks have played and how many have not won. Not one at all. Drew Brees has won one, and he's probably going to be retiring this spring. He's been to only one. One of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. Drew Brees is probably top 5 on most people's lists, and he's only been to one. Dan Marino was considered one of the greatest all time. Still top 10 on most people's lists. Did he ever win one? No, and he only got to one once. At the
It
time,
wasn't his final career game, and he didn't lose like 62-7 or some shit like that.
his final career game was a Super Bowl? No.
Wasn't it? I don't know. It was before my
No,
time.
when they got to the Super Bowl, what happened was when they lost, he was in the midst of his prime, and they were saying at the time, oh, he'll go to more. He's so good. There's no way he doesn't go to more. He never went back. The same thing happened to Drew Brees, but Drew Brees was lucky to win it. Peyton Manning went 4 times, but only won twice. Aaron Rodgers has been once. You know how many times we've been saying Aaron Rodgers will get back there at some point?
Mm-hmm. He might not ever get back.
He might not ever get back at this point. How many NFC championships has he been to? And this is not a knock against him, but how many has he been to since then? 4? Has he gotten back? Nope. Because it's that hard. Maybe he's only been to 3, but it's just that hard. It's that hard to get to the Super Bowl, and Tom Brady keeps doing it and doing it and doing it. I don't know why we give hate. Ben Roethlisberger has been to the Super Bowl twice. And he's been to many AFC championships, but he keeps losing. He's lost to Peyton Manning. He's lost to Tom Brady. He's lost to Joe Flacco. Well, I don't know what to say. It's hard to do. It's really hard to do. And look at Russell Wilson. He's fantastic, and he hasn't been to the Super Bowl in 7 years. Do you think Russell Wilson will ever get back? We don't know. We really don't know. And that's what I'm saying for Patrick Mahomes now. He's in his 4th year as a starter. He's in his 2nd Super Bowl in 4 years, and that's great. That is fantastic. I'm all for it and watching this greatness happen. But in no way will I ever try to justify that he is the next GOAT, because it is so unrealistic to set that expectation on a player. If Patrick Mahomes meets it 15 years down from the road, hey, I'll be singing his praises. I will be saying Patrick Mahomes is the GOAT. I'll be saying I'm so glad I got to watch Tom Brady and then Patrick Mahomes, because I will always get to brag about that. Right? Who wouldn't want to get to brag about that? That you got to live and watch football in the greatest possible time to watch 2 quarterbacks play over the span of 40 years. Unfortunately, I know that's not realistic. So I would like to say for Patrick Mahomes, I hope, for the sake of football and history of football and the impact it will have on the game, I hope he does it. I hope Patrick Mahomes goes to 10 Super Bowls. It'd be awesome to see. Now, part of me would hate it because I'm a Ravens fan, right? But the football fan in me would be like, yes, another great player I get to watch. But at the end of the day, it's so unrealistic to put that expectation on a player. And you have to remember, after Tom Brady won the 2004 Super Bowl, you know he didn't win again until 2015, right?
Mm-hmm.
He didn't win again until 11 years later. 11. No, not 11. Not 11. What was it? 10 years. 10 years, because it was the 2014 Super Bowl. 10 years later. Like, let's be realistic here. Even the GOAT, it took him 10 years until he won again. Yes, he went to the Super Bowl 3 years after his last win, and then 4 years after that loss as well. But that's 2 times in 7 years. It's very unrealistic to expect Patrick Mahomes to do it, especially when Lamar Jackson is there. As of right now, Deshaun Watson is there. There are other great quarterbacks who are going to have their moments and their seasons. And that's what happened to Tom Brady as well. Ben Roethlisberger, Aaron Rodgers, Peyton Manning, Eli Manning, all these guys came and said, it's our moment, we're going to take it this year. So I would like to temper down expectation on Patrick Mahomes simply for his sake. It's very unrealistic to put that much pressure on one person, because it took 21 years for someone else to build that legacy, and we're trying to give it to someone after 4.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Does that all make sense?
No, it does. And, like, I'm of the opinion that Patrick Mahomes won't ever reach that. If let's put it this way. I'm of the opinion that talk to me about Patrick Mahomes potentially reaching or surpassing Tom Brady's accomplishments when he gets to 4 rings. When he gets to 4 rings, we can talk. But if he loses to Tom Brady this weekend and now has to win 7 to tie him and 8 to pass him, not only will he not do that, I'm confident in saying he will not do that. But even if he does, you can still hold that, you lost to Tom Brady in the Super Bowl at the age of 43 against Mahomes, and you could still hail Tom Brady as the GOAT, in my opinion, in that certain situation. But even then, I can't realistically say that Patrick Mahomes is going to win all these Super Bowls, win all these MVPs, and be the next Tom Brady or surpass Tom Brady. And I think it's unfortunate that Tom Brady's at least still got 1 more, if not 2, 3, 4 years left in him.
Stop.
with the way.
Stop.
I mean, realistically, dude, he's 43 right now,
and he looks better than he did in his 20s.
Yeah, and if Father Time hasn't beaten him yet, I'm not sure he will.
Who's the only man that will ever get to claim he beat Father Time? Only one.
It's absolutely insane. He's 43, and he's still probably a top 5 quarterback. So he's still at least got, in my opinion, he's probably still going to be kicking around for bare minimum one more year. I would say 2 or 3. You know, buckle up for it because it's probably going to happen. And Patrick Mahomes is still really young. He's still got a lot of career in front of him. Let's just appreciate Tom Brady and what he's doing now, and then we can talk about Patrick Mahomes and compare him to him or compare the two to each other when Patrick Mahomes hangs it up. But right now, I just think it's too early to put expectations like that on him, and I think it's unfair to Tom Brady because let's appreciate what he's still doing right now while he's still in the league instead of hailing this guy who's in his 4th year, only 3rd year starting as already better than him.
And the worst thing that could happen from all this, too, is Patrick Mahomes ends up like Andrew Luck. Great player, doing great things for his city, and then suddenly, injuries come, injuries keep coming, and suddenly your body can't take it anymore. We've seen it happen to great guys before, not just Andrew Luck. It happens, right? It's a miracle Tom Brady is still doing this. Mm-hmm. It is,
and I don't. Let's not pretend like Tom Brady's unblemished too. He's torn his ACL before. Injuries will happen, and I'm not saying I want to wish an injury on Patrick Mahomes or some shit like that, so he doesn't overtake Tom Brady's legacy. Of course not. But at some point, he's going to get hurt. It's going to happen to everybody. And I'm not just talking about minor bumps and bruise or, something where he's going to miss 1 or 2 games with. He's probably going to get hurt at some point where he's going to miss significant time. It happens to almost every starting quarterback.
Yeah, it happened to Brett Favre, and he was considered the Iron Man. Remember, I think his record hasn't been beaten. I think it's 299 games. Has his record been beaten? I don't even know. But
I don't think it has.
Yeah, and he was, like I said, he was called the Iron Man, and eventually he started breaking down too. I just want our listeners to know this is not us trying to just slobber all over Tom Brady because we think he's amazing. It's to try and set in the realistic expectation that throwing onto a quarterback, they're the next GOAT, is so impossible to claim so early in their career because of what can happen. And you could make comparisons and say, hey, Patrick Mahomes, Deshaun Watson was going to be the next Tom Brady, Peyton Manning matchup. That's fair. Or, the next Drew Brees, Brett Favre matchup was going to be Lamar Jackson and, Kyler Murray, or Lamar Jackson and Deshaun Watson, or Kyler Murray, Dak Prescott is going to be the next Drew Brees, Matt Ryan, right? You can say those things. That's okay. Because you can compare quarterback styles and say, yeah, these are those two similar styles and offenses. Let's go with that. You can say that. That's okay. What's not okay is saying this is the next GOAT. Because for me, I don't like throwing around the word GOAT. I don't usually just call people goated. When I say GOAT, I'm talking Larry Fitzgerald. I'm talking Justin Tucker. I'm talking Tom Brady. I'm talking Jerry Rice. I'm talking Brian Urlacher. These guys, Ray Lewis. I'm talking about these guys who actually should be in the greatest of all time conversation for their positions. Brian Dawkins, Ed Reed. I guess Joe Montana. I should not have forgotten that one at all. Who is the running back for? Oh my God. Take away my football
Walter Payton
license. I was thinking Barry Sanders, but Walter Payton's a good one too.
There's Walter Payton.
Yeah, these are all guys who deserve. Emmitt Smith. These are all guys who deserve to be in the GOAT name. That's what you're saying Patrick Mahomes is going to be, and frankly, he has not played long enough to even get the consideration. The media will hype it up.
And like, right, and like this isn't Patrick Mahomes slander either. Like
No.
and when you look at it, like when you look at what he has accomplished, like you can say yes, like he is trending towards potentially being that guy. But like the fact that people are already hailing him that and already saying, oh, he's already going to go to 10 Super Bowls, this, that, and the other. We've seen quarterbacks go to Super Bowls when they're young before. Didn't Big Ben go his second year or his rookie year?
He won his second year. And then he went again. And then he went again against the Cardinals and won that one.
Yeah.
And then he went again just a couple of years later against Rodgers. And he hasn't been in 11 years.
And then he never made it back.
Yeah. He's been close. He's been to a couple AFC Championship games, but he's never made it back.
So, yeah, I just think and he's also got a really, really special team right now and a really, really special coach right now. But so did Seattle just a couple years back with the Legion of Boom and Russell Wilson coming to the league and Marshawn Lynch. And they went to 2 Super Bowls, won one, lost one, and then they haven't been able to find their way back either. And it's almost the exact same regime. So, I mean, I'm not going to say that this is the case because this roster is built to maintain the success they are currently holding, but it's not like the Seahawks are slouches either.
No, they're not. So let's get off the quarterback carousel for a second here, because we've mostly been talking about the legacy of Tom Brady, what Patrick Mahomes is going to look like in the future, and let's talk about the coaches, because I think the coaches got some intriguing stories. Andy Reid, one of the greatest chokers in postseason history for a long time, finally won a Super Bowl last year. He finally beat the narrative, and you haven't heard anything since about him potentially choking, right? It's been he's going to win it, right? He's favored to win right now. There's no mention of it, how bad his clock management used to be, his losses in the Super Bowl when he was with the Eagles. No mention of it whatsoever. And there shouldn't be mention of it either. But there is no mention of it. It's quite funny how one Super Bowl win can change a narrative about a coach, right? And then you got Bruce Arians, a guy who is renowned for making Hall of Fame quarterbacks play it and maintain their elite level, right? Peyton Manning, Ben Roethlisberger. Didn't he work with Andrew Luck?
I disconnected for a minute. What was happening?
I said I was talking about the legacy of Andy Reid, and then I went to the legacy of Bruce Arians, and I said his legacy is that he has always raised elite quarterbacks to their next level and kept them at their level. And I said Ben Roethlisberger, Peyton Manning, and then I said he's worked with Andrew Luck, right?
Yeah, he did.
Andrew Luck. And he took, a middle-of-the-pack quarterback in Carson Palmer, probably 14th, 15th, 16th ranked when he's with the Bengals and, Raiders, and he made him look like a top 6 guy, top 7, top 6, top 5 guy in Arizona for a little bit.
He was an MVP. He was the MVP in 2015.
He was.
Maybe that's just me being biased, but he was better than Cam Newton that year.
And he was a guy who is now going to be in the Cardinals' Ring of Honor just because those 3 years were so good. So, what does Bruce Arians do? He retires. He comes back to coaching after being terrible on the analyst desk. I'm sorry. And
yeah, he wasn't great.
No.
And he would be swearing on live television, so that doesn't help you either.
He was not good. And he has a okay year with Jameis Winston and the Bucs, right? And then says, you know what? We need a different quarterback. Tom Brady says, hey, I'm available. He takes it in. I had a lot of skepticism around it, but here he is. He's in the Super Bowl, and he's playing against a guy who just did it for the first time last week. So these are the two legacies of the coaches. One guy is a guy who, for the life of him, couldn't win a postseason game when it really mattered with the clock management issues, losing the Super Bowl to Tom Brady, and then finally wins it last year for the first time in his career. And now here's Bruce Arians, who's gotten so close so many times as a head coach, but never could quite get to the Super Bowl. Now here he is, going for his first Super Bowl ring. The difference, I think, here, though, is Bruce Arians has been there, done that, in terms of fact he's been on teams that have won Super Bowls. So there's something to be said for that there. And there's a lot of experience on this Tampa Bay Buccaneers team that doesn't make me think they're just going to, fall on the floor before the Chiefs. I think this should be a really good game. But what do you think about the coaches here? What do you think their legacy is going to stand for going forward after this one?
I mean, I think Andy Reid's legacy at this point is already cemented because he's really accomplished everything you can as a head coach in this league at this point. Obviously, you can win more Super Bowls or you can win more Coach of the Year awards. Obviously, you can do that. But I think at this point, if he never wins another Super Bowl and just is kind of consistently good for however long, makes a couple, AFC Championship game appearances, wins some division titles, he's going to go down as an all-time great coach. Now, Bruce Arians still has everything to coach for. I would say play for, but he's not a player. But he's never won a Super Bowl as a head coach. He's done it as an assistant, but he's never done it as a head coach. And that is something that, he needs to cement his legacy, in my opinion. And a lot of Cardinal fans seem to resent BA because of the way he left, but I honestly don't blame him. I still love BA. I think he's an incredible personality, and he gave me the most incredible 5-year run in Cardinals franchise history. And we haven't experienced any success since he left, really. So I still love BA, and I really want to see him win a Super Bowl because I want to see this dude retire already. He's older. In my opinion, he doesn't look great. I would love for him to be able to go out on top with the Super Bowl and, just call it good. And then from there, his legacy is cemented because he'd have multiple Coach of the Year awards, a Super Bowl to his name now as a head coach, and just all the time he spent in the league. I love BA. So I think when it comes to comparing the legacies of these two coaches, Andy Reid is pretty much cemented. There's not a whole lot more he could do unless he wins, a handful of Super Bowls going forward. Then obviously that changes things. But I don't know if one or two more really does that much more for Andy Reid, in my opinion. Obviously, it's a significant achievement to win 2 or 3 more Super Bowls at this point in his career. But I'm not sure how much more it would do for his overall legacy. Unlike Bruce Arians, who I think would be huge for.
You could arguably try and start the conversation that Andy Reid could be the greatest offensive coach of all time. At that point, offensive-minded.
What, if he wins 2 or 3 more Super Bowls?
No, if he got his second one, you could start that conversation.
I mean, you can maybe have that conversation. I would need to look at a list, personally. But I mean, you could think you could discuss it, yeah.
Yeah, but that's why I'm saying you put him in the conversation. I didn't say he would be. I'm just saying you put him in the conversation.
Right.
I mean, there's a conversation, to be made for, and I'm not saying as a coach, I'm just saying as a offensive-minded coach. I mean, when it comes to coaches, you still got to beat guys like Tom Landry from the Dallas Cowboys, John Madden, Bill Belichick. That's a really, really hard group to get in the names of. But if we're talking about just offensive-minded, oh yeah. 2 Super Bowls you could, as a head coach, and think about he went to a third with the Eagles, and how many offenses he's just gotten so much out of with so little. Remember, this is a team that once had no receivers get a touchdown in one season. That wasn't long ago. That was 2016, my guy. That was 5 years ago. It wasn't that long ago. You have to remember this. Andy Reid gets everything he wants out of players, and when he finally squeezes all the juice out of them and realizes it's not enough, he says, all right, next. Once he got all he could out of Jeremy Maclin and realized it wasn't enough, he was like, next. here comes Tyreek Hill. Just all these different things that Andy Reid does it's amazing what he does. So I love Andy Reid. I love Bruce Arians. The no risk it, no biscuit attitude's a lot of fun. I have a feeling they're going to live and die by that coming this week, which may or may not be a good thing. There may be a play.
I think you got to, though. If you're Bruce, excuse me, if you're Bruce Arians in the Super Bowl and you back off the no risk it, no biscuit at this point in the biggest game of your coaching career, you're not doing it right. I think you got to in this game, and I think that's the motto he's lived by with his team ever since he's been a head coach. And I mean, it's worked and won him a lot of games. I think it's worked and won him a lot more games than it's lost.
Oh, for sure.
With just the way with the way he coaches his team. So I think you got to go all in and go no risk and no biscuit.
Okay, so this is a very specific situation, but the situation that comes to mind is, let's just say the Bucs are ahead by 5 points. Let's just say it's like 25-31, right? No, sorry, 26-31, okay? You're on 4th and goal. It's a 3 yards to get there. 3 yards, okay? So you can't just sneak it in. You can't just run it in. At least not easily. Convention says, you know what? Kick the field goal, okay? Let your defense try to handle an 8-point game with a minute and a half left. Yes, it's Patrick Mahomes, but it's an 8-point game. Even if they get the touchdown, they got to get the 2-pointer. And if they get the 2-pointer, it's still overtime. And if they do it fast enough, Tom Brady's your quarterback. You kick the fucking field goal, okay? I understand Patrick Mahomes can go back and do the 2-pointer, but he can only put it to overtime. He can't win the game. That's the key part for me. Patrick Mahomes can't win the game if you kick the field goal. But for whatever reason, I feel like Bruce Arians would say, 3 yards left, we're ahead by 6. Fuck that. Touchdown.
Nope.
Got to go for
Disagree.
the touchdown.
I disagree.
I think he'd go for it.
I don't think he would. I think he would think about it, maybe, for sure. If he had the perfect play call and something was working all night, yeah, maybe. But in that situation, I think he trusts his defense. He has a lot of players. He's been around for a very, very long time on that defense. And he trusts Todd Bowles to hold and not blow an 8-point lead in that situation.
It's Patrick Mahomes. I don't care how good your defense is. It's Patrick Mahomes.
I mean, yeah, maybe, but I would trust Bruce Arians to kick a field goal there. Bruce Arians is risk it, no biscuit, but he's also not dumb. So unless he had the perfect play call that he knew was going to work, that he's been burning them with all night, he's gonna kick the field goal there. I feel pretty confident.
I mean, a lot of coaches have 100%er plays in their book, or at least what they deem 100%ers that are 2 to 3 yards, because you want to get 3rd and 1s. Mm-hmm. I would imagine that's what he would dial up.
Right.
But I don't know. I feel like he'd go for it, and then shit, there you are. You know, it's incomplete. Now Patrick Mahomes has to go 97 yards, which isn't easy to do, but shit, if he scores, game's over. Mm-hmm. Whereas if you just kick the field goal, even if Patrick Mahomes scores, and even if he gets the 2-pointer, it's a tie game. He didn't win it. So you can either have Tom Brady win the game for you at that point, depending on how much time there is, or you just, if there's just like less than 10 seconds left, you just kneel it, go to overtime. So, I don't know, but maybe that's just like the mantra I get from Bruce Arians when I watch his stuff because of his no risk it, no biscuit mentality. And like you said, it's won a ton of games. Like, it won the Green Bay game when they were when they were ahead 14-6. You know what they said on that interception? It was like, Tom Brady, you throw it to Scotty Miller. You launch it and just see what happens. And it was a touchdown. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, they liked the mismatch they had, and they said, you know, we could just go for this and get the field goal and make it, you know, an 11-point game. But they said instead, nah, no risk it, no biscuit. Get that touchdown. So, I liked about the coach legacies. We'll see what happens on Sunday and how these things play out. Let's talk about the matchup in the team, since we're about 40 minutes in now. We managed to talk 20 minutes about quarterbacks and 20 minutes about coaches. Let's talk about the rest of the team. And let's look at how they square up together. So we've got on Kansas City's side, you've got an Eric Bieniemy designed offense with Andy Reid calling the plays, Patrick Mahomes as the driver of the engine that is the Kansas City offense. That is, in my opinion, still boom or bust, but is an 80% boom, so it's always going to wow you. With Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill, we got Clyde Edwards-Helaire back into the swing of things. Le'Veon Bell is a backup. Eric is... Wait, I forget. Is Eric Fisher out? I can't remember.
Don't know. I haven't looked.
Let's see. He didn't practice on Thursday. I can't...
My bet is he's going to go. It's the Super Bowl.
I mean, my bet he would go too. Oh, no, he won't. He won't play in the Super Bowl.
Really?
Well, he had an Achilles injury that took him out of the AFC Championship.
Oof.
And he did say he was going to miss it. Okay, so he is officially missing the Super Bowl. Okay. What's funny is even though Eric Fisher has said in interviews it's going to be gut-wrenching to miss the Super Bowl, and he hasn't practiced, from the Chiefs' official list, he has not been called out. I don't know if that's out of respect for him or whatever, but, I mean, the writing's kind of on the wall, right? Achilles injury, he said it's gut-wrenching to miss it, like, yeah, he's missing it on Sunday. So they don't have Eric Fisher. I was going to talk about the monstrous offensive line, but missing Eric Fisher is a big one.
Especially when you got, Shaq Barrett and JPP across from him.
Yeah, so that might be something that they'll exploit. But either way, you still got, the track meet at wide receiver. So this offense is loaded. The defense is coming back again, just in the nick of time to make another Super Bowl run and win it with, Tyrann Mathieu, Frank Clark leading the way. I don't know what to say more about this Chiefs team, man. They're dominant. They're elite. They got the talent. They got the swag. They've got the quarterback who's willing to forgive mistakes like they did in that game with the Bills and Texans that put the Bills, ahead 9-0. A lot of people have been talking about how Andy Reid is the example you want to follow. When a player goes down, right, you don't bench them. You tell them, hey, you screwed up. Here's your chance to wipe it away, right? Make up for the fact you screwed up. And Demarcus Robinson did just that. With I think it was a massive. Wasn't it a run touchdown or was it a screen? It was a run or a screen. Either way, he more than
pretty sure it was a run.
He more than made up for it, and everybody was hyped for it. And Patrick Mahomes was a leader in that. He told him, "Hey, calm down, dude. Quit putting the towel over your head. You're fine. You're going to make a play. It's fine. Stuff happens." And that's how this team is. They believe in themselves. They believe in each other. Do you know how many times they've been down in the postseason by more than 2 possessions and they give 0 fucks? They were down 21-10 to the 49ers in the Super Bowl, 24-0 to the Texans, 14-0 to the Titans, 9-0 to the Bills. This team gives no cares about how far you get ahead because at the end of the day, they're looking to win. So, Kansas City's the favorite going in. They're the defending Super Bowl champions, rightfully so. I don't think there's a lot to expose against them, honestly. I think you could play a 2-safety defense to try and expose their offense. You could maybe try and attack their offensive line now that Eric Fisher's out. But maybe you know more. Do you see weakness in this Chiefs team to try and expose?
I mean, their defense has really come on. I'll give them that. But it's still definitely a defense, in my opinion, that can get got, especially with the amount of weapons that the Buccaneers have offensively in Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Gronk, their 2 running backs in Rojo and Leonard Fournette. List goes on. So I do think it's a mismatch with their secondary, and that's no disrespect to, guys like Tyrann Mathieu, but when your best corner is Brashad Breeland, and you're going up against a wide receiver core like this, I don't know. I kind of give the edge to the wide receiver core here. Now, they got a pretty solid defensive front over there in Kansas City. But with that being said, how much is that really going to do for you in the long run versus an offense with this many weapons and this surgical of a quarterback? So I think that's where that defense can get got is just the amount of star power on the Buccaneers offense being able to potentially overpower them. And now the same thing goes hand in hand. I think that's what this game's really going to come down to. It might come down to, honestly, which offense has the ball last, because I honestly don't really see either defense being able to have a whole lot of answers for what these offenses provide. So I kind of gave my take on the defenses, but you gave your take on the defense. What do you think about these two offenses? Because honestly, I think it's going to be a fireworks show on Sunday.
So I don't know. I'm not actually all that high on the Bucs offense. On paper, it's a fantastic roster, but they don't gel as well as I want them to, right? Like, I don't expect them to pop off like I do the Chiefs' offense to pop off, or don't expect them to pop off like. What's another offense I would expect to pop off? Man, I'm so removed from the regular season. I guess early on, when Dak Prescott was throwing the ball with the Cowboys, right, they were popping off. And when you look at the receiver core, you're like, oh, rightfully so, right? And that's what I should be expecting from the Bucs, and it just doesn't happen, and I don't know why. Or maybe it just doesn't look flashy. I don't know. There's just something about the Bucs offense that I'm like, yeah, they're really good, and they work hard, and they score. But I don't think it outmatches the Chiefs offense, right? That's how I feel. I don't expect the Bucs offense to outgain the Chiefs offense. And by that, I don't mean in points. I just mean like in yardage. I definitely expect the Chiefs to have more yardage. Whether that results in more points, I don't know. Usually it does. And maybe it's just the different styles they have because the Chiefs love to launch it. And I'm not saying they're just a deep ball only offense. It's just they create these weird plays that are really hard to defend. And then all of a sudden you're so busy trying to defend those weird plays. And then they just call a simple, Tyreek Hill down the middle. They're not paying attention right now. We got him off guard. There's a 50-yard bomb to him. And the Patriots, the Bucs don't have that. It's a lot of mixed routes in the middle of the field. It's not flashy. There's never a time where I'm thinking to myself, there's going to be a surprise play here from the Bucs. There's times where I think to myself, wow, that's a beautiful throw by Tom Brady. But I'm usually just more amazed that he's still doing it at 43 more than anything else. So it's not like those throws can't be made by other people. I think the biggest thing that the Bucs do have an advantage over, if you're going to ask me about the offenses, is the running game. I like the running game for the Bucs more than I do the Chiefs. But it depends. Are the Bucs going to get to use the running game? I think is the big question. If they get like a 3-0 lead, in the beginning, and then let's just say the Chiefs' offense stalls out in the beginning, like they always do in the postseason. And they go 3 and out, and the Bucs get the ball back when it's 3-0. Yeah, I think you can start running some ball control. Run the ball a bit with Fournette, give some plays, work the middle of the field, let Tom Brady do his death by paper cuts magic. Don't do the deep ball so much in that moment, unless there's like a mismatch you really see that you like. Then I could see the Bucs offense just taking over. But even then, when I see them taking over, I don't see them creating like fireworks. I don't know. Am I sounding weird for like viewing it this way?
I don't think you're giving quite the amount of credit I do think is due to the Patriots, or excuse me, wow, the Buccaneers.
I said it.
The Buccaneers offense. I think compared to the Chiefs, like far and away, you're going to take the Chiefs' weapons and their quarterback and just overall their offense compared to what the Bucs are putting out. But I don't think that means like the Buccaneers can't get after it offensively too, and especially against a defense that, compared to what they were early on in the season, is now better. Yes, but it's still a defense that can get gashed all over. I don't know. To me, this is a game where I see both sides pulling out all of the stops. And I don't think Bruce Arians is going to go down not swinging. He's going to open up this offense and let him go. You know, he's going to play this game to win. I don't see him playing ball control football. That's just never really been Bruce Arians' style.
Maybe the fact that their last matchup was 27-24 is also kind of speaking to me too. That might be it, because that game wasn't flashing fireworks. It was mostly Tyreek Hill popping off and nothing else happening with the Chiefs' offense. Mm-hmm. And the Bucs refusing to adjust their game plan to Tyreek Hill. I just remember watching it, and they kept doing the same shit. You would think after the first couple times of getting burned by Hill, you're like, dude, just double cover him. Let them beat you somewhere else, because this ain't it. Your plan to try and match Hill one-on-one ain't working. Double him. I understand you want to get rid of Travis Kelce. It don't matter, because Hill's burning you right now. And they didn't learn their lesson. And what's funny is he was literally their only touchdown production. He was all 21 points of their 27. If they literally would have just changed their game plan at halftime to try and stop Tyreek Hill, the Bucs could have easily won this game. And they chose not to. So it blows my mind that they did not adjust. They went with the man-on-man cover. Let me say this. If they go with the same idea again, saying, oh, it didn't work last time, this is how we make it work, you lose. You lose. If you try to convince yourself that you can beat Tyreek Hill one-on-one just in a different way, you lose. I'm sorry. Automatically. Game's over. I'm giving the trophy to the Chiefs. You're dumb if you think that. And for whatever reason, because the Bucs like to run that kind of defense, I feel like they're going to do it again. And the Chiefs defense will just control what they want to control, like they did. I don't know. I don't actually expect this game to be a ton of fireworks. I really don't. Overall, I'm not saying it can't, because it's written all over the Chiefs offense, and the names Antonio Brown, Mike Evans, Rob Gronkowski, Tom Brady all tell you, hey, this should be a shootout, like a Patriots-Eagles Super Bowl shootout, 41-38, and I actually don't think it's going to happen. I think it'll be similar to what their last matchup was, which was 27-24. But that's the feeling I get for the Super Bowl. So maybe it's just the feeling I have, not so much me trying to analyze what the team's potentials are, as much as just what I see happening.
I mean, to each their own, I suppose.
So we've talked about, the Chiefs offense, and we've started talking about the Bucs offense. So let's just go. We talked about the Chiefs team. So let's go fully into the Buccaneers team. We've talked a lot about the Buccaneers offense. Let's talk about the defense. Shaquille Barrett, Jason Pierre-Paul, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers corner. What's his name?
Jamel Dean and Winfield. You might be thinking Jamel Dean when it comes to that corner.
Is that who I'm thinking of?
That's probably who you're thinking of. And then Antoine Winfield, their safety, who's been really, really good this year. It's his rookie year.
Yeah, this is the defense led by Todd Bowles, and it's led by two guys who like to get after the quarterback. My big question is, can you get to Patrick Mahomes before Tyreek gets down the hill? Get down the field, or just any of their track runners. To be honest, can you do it before they get down the field? And I think what's an even worse wrinkle for this defense to deal with is before, when they lost to the Chiefs, they just mostly lost to Tyreek Hill. The Bills had no answer for the Chiefs' trick plays. And Brett Coleman, the film guy I watched, he said he has watched the film over and over and over, and he says he can't even come up with a scheme that would answer it. He's like, the Bills couldn't come up with it. He says he can't think of anything, and he's wondering if the Buccaneers will think of anything. And he said he even reached out to several of his friends who are defensive coaches in college football, and they're like, yeah, we can't think of anything. Just the intricacies of the trick plays were just so hard to defend. And one of them was that, huge run that made, Robinson get his his confidence back in the game. It's a mismatch to me for the Buccaneers defense. I'm not saying they can't control this game in some way, shape, or form through, like, let's just say the pass rush. But this game's a lot harder than it seems. If you ask me, the one thing that I think really will favor the Buccaneers here, at least defensively, is the crowd will favor them. I sincerely mean that, because they will be a home team. There's going to be plenty of Buccaneers fans there. And the biggest thing that this Chiefs team has not seen is they have not seen a live crowd be loud against them. They've had live crowds, but they've not had a real live crowd against them. So I think when it comes to it, and it's going to be one of their first times in quite a while of trying to call plays, and if this Bucs team offensively starts creating some steam, the crowd's going to be loud. It's already going to be loud because it's Super Bowl. So I can't imagine, what it's going to be like for the Chiefs to try and adjust to that, and I think that will benefit the defense quite a bit. I know that's not directly a defensive thing, but crowd noise usually helps the defense. Another thing I would like to see is Antoine Winfield actually take the field. I know he's got an ankle injury, but I feel like him being on the field would be nice on the back end, and he's listed as questionable right now.
He'll go. He'll play.
You think so? I know he didn't play against Green Bay.
If you're listed as questionable Super Bowl week, you're going to play. That's my opinion, I think. In terms of this defense, though, you're right. It is a massive mismatch. And while this defense does have some pieces, especially there on the edge, I think that's where, if the Bucs are going to win, that's where they need to dominate, is on the edge of the defensive line. JPP and Shaq Barrett need to get after it and be putting pressure on Mahomes.
They need to make Mahomes go out of sync.
Night. Oh, yeah. They need to make this entire offense try and get out of sync. If you could get pressure on Mahomes where you're forcing this offense to get the ball out quickly, which is not something this offense is built on. This offense is built on Mahomes taking a 45-step drop back, obviously it's an over-exaggeration, and just chucking it every play. But, I mean, realistically, when you watch it, Mahomes sometimes takes 8 or 9-step drop backs. Can you believe that shit?
Yeah, I talked about this with you before, right? How he he rolls farther back than any other quarterback.
It's because he's trying to buy time to get away from the rushers so his guys can get downfield. Because, like you said, if you can play, and the thing about it is you say they need to play like 2 high safeties against the Chiefs. That's not something that Todd Bowles does. He likes having 1 safety high, and he likes plugging up the box. Now, I could see them making adjustments because you are playing the Chiefs in this situation, but if you could generate pressure on the edge and keep Mahomes from getting into rhythm and forcing them to get the ball out quickly, that doesn't play into the hands of the Chiefs. And now you're not going to be able to consistently do that all game. The Chiefs are going to make their plays. But if you can consistently get pressure, I think that's going to bode really well for the Buccaneers. It's just, you got to make it happen. And it's hard to do against an offense loaded with that many weapons and, arguably, the greatest young star in the NFL, quarterback in Patrick Mahomes. So everything I'm saying is a lot easier said than done, but it's something the Buccaneers are going to need to do if they want to get out of there with a victory. Is you got to get pressure on Patrick Mahomes. And I know that's really, really basic, but I don't think the secondary for the Buccaneers is bad by any means, but when you're matching up with as many weapons as you will be, you're going to need your D-line, you're going to need your front 7, you're going to need your edge guys to come out really big because your secondary guys, no matter what, are going to get burned.
I 100% agree with you there. So, one last thing I would like to say, I would love to try and see the Bucs try and exploit Gronkowski in the middle of the field. I think they need to take the mismatch that he presents just as a big body. The guy can still catch. We've seen him have a couple pop-off games this year. and try and work the middle of the field like Tom Brady loves to do, and then you just have that surprise Scotty Miller throw over the top. I think that's the type of thing I want to see. Man, I'm excited for it. I'm ready for it. I'm excited for Sunday. I think we should make our picks.
Yep, I'm down.
Alrighty, so do you want to go first? Do you want me to go first? I don't care who.
I'll go first, I think. So, from a fan perspective, from a non-analytical perspective, I want the Buccaneers to win. And people are, and I've had people say, well, why do you want to see Tom Brady win another one? And it's not necessarily just about that. I do want to see Tom Brady win another one just because we're never going to see it again, and it'd just be kind of cool to see it again. But I want BA to win one, and there's a lot of former Cardinals on that team and on that coaching staff that I all want to see win a ring, and guys who I think deserve it. So I'm pulling for the Buccaneers, but I don't know, man. It's so hard to pick against the Chiefs, and I don't think I've done it a single time all year. And you know, it's really hard to pick against Tom Brady too, and I don't do that very often. But my gut says Chiefs. And I think, like, going back to what I said, I think that's really, really big for Patrick Mahomes' legacy. But I think this is going to be, you know, a slugfest from start to finish. I think we're in for a really special game. There's too much star power in this game. There's too many great players on defense for there not to be just fireworks throughout this game. I really do think it's going to be insane. Maybe the score not quite as high as maybe I'm thinking. But final score, I think I'm going to go Chiefs 29-26.
All right, and give me who your MVP, for sure MVP is going to be, and who the dark horse MVP could be.
So I'm going to say for the Chiefs and the Bucks, who I think would be the MVP of the team and the dark horse. So I think if the Chiefs win the Super Bowl, you know, obviously it's probably going to end up being fucking Patrick Mahomes. The dark horse, I would either give to Tyreek Hill, just because we saw what he did to this Buccaneers defense earlier in the year, or Travis Kelce. I think it's going to be one of the offensive guys. People are probably going to say Tyrann Mathieu, but I think it's so hard to give it to a defensive player, especially when you're a guy in the secondary. Unless you get like 2 or 3 picks and return one of them for a touchdown, you're probably not going to win Super Bowl MVP, even though you probably deserve it. I think if you're going to win it as a defensive player, you need to be a guy on the defensive line who just completely wrecked their game plan. So I think if the Buccaneers win, you know, I want to say Tom Brady, and I think I will. I think that would be it. But my dark horse, Scotty Miller.
Alrighty.
People sleep on Scotty Miller. He's as fast as Tyreek Hill. Doesn't have the skills of Tyreek Hill. Doesn't have the ball skills of Tyreek Hill. But he's just as fast. And I think he's going to play a major factor. And if you can, even if Scotty Miller, you know, isn't making any big plays and isn't catching the ball, he's going to be going deep almost every play, just run a fly. And he's going to take Tyrann Mathieu with him every single time. If you can keep Tyrann Mathieu out of the box and leave everything underneath and intermediate to Mike Evans, Godwin, Gronk, and AB, man, that offense could really, really eat. So, man, I still want to pick the Buccaneers because I think they can beat this team. But I don't know. I just got to go with the Chiefs. What about you?
Yeah, so I'm going with the Chiefs as well, my guy. I've kind of been telling that to myself for the last few days. What's actually been happening is my students, because they know I'm a huge football person, it's kind of funny. I'm now the person that my students go to, not just for math. They go to me for football now, and they're always asking me, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? So I kind of love that, that I have that with my students. It's not just a math thing. They see me as someone else who's not just their math teacher. But I keep getting questions. Who's going to win the Super Bowl? Who's going to win the Super Bowl? Who's going to win the Super Bowl? And every time I'm like, probably the Chiefs. It's going to be the Chiefs. I think you're dumb to not pick the Chiefs. If you're not picking the Chiefs, I don't know what you're doing. These are all responses I've given students. The funniest one I gave them is I looked at them and I said, not your team. Because he's an Eagles fan.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, but your old coach will, which was the Chiefs, Andy Reid.
Mm-hmm.
And I've never really wavered from that, despite the fact this is Tom Brady in the Super Bowl. This Chiefs team is just better, I think. I want the Buccaneers to win. I'm really rooting for Arians to get his first ring. That's what I want the most. I want Arians to get his ring. But at the end of the day, the Chiefs are just better, honestly. They got a quarterback who probably will outplay Tom Brady, and an offense that will probably outdo the other offense, and their defense probably won't get exposed like the Buccaneers offense won't. Like, the writing is just on the wall to me that the Kansas City is the better team, and if the Buccaneers win, it's kind of an upset from a logistical on-paper standpoint. Now, people might not call it an upset because it's Tom Brady leading the team, so you would never call a Tom Brady Super Bowl win an upset. That would never happen. It never will. But on paper, it is. And I'm thinking like you, like the 29-26 era. I was thinking, 28-24. Right? I wasn't expecting massive fireworks. I was expecting a middle of the pack game that has, scoring, but just not a ton of it. So 28-24 with the Chiefs winning it. And I actually am going with Tyreek being the MVP, mostly because he burns this Buccaneers defense, and I think he's going to burn it again. I don't anticipate a running back to take it this time at all. I don't anticipate Travis Kelce to take it. I don't even think Patrick Mahomes will take it. I think if you give it to Patrick Mahomes, he has to have an otherworldly game. I don't want to see him have like a 2 touchdowns, 0 interception, 300-yard game. If that's what it is and they give him the MVP, I will riot. Do not give me that bullshit. If he's having the MVP, he better have like 430 yards and 3 touchdowns and 0 interceptions. Right? Mm-hmm. But if it's just his standard 330-yard game with 2 touchdowns, yeah, it better be Tyreek Hill, because Tyreek Hill's going to have like 120 yards in both touchdowns.
200 of those?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So I think Tyreek Hill is going to get it. If there's anybody who's not him that's going to get it, Frank Clark could possibly get it, and he'd be my dark horse. He's always been like the game ender. They call him the shark for a reason, because when there's blood in the water, he always seals the game. Mm-hmm. So I think Frank Clark could get it. If the Buccaneers did end up winning, there's really no standout player to me who would get it. So I have to say Tom Brady, which sucks to say. And it's funny, I love Tom Brady, but I don't want to say – I just don't want to say a quarterback, honestly. But I feel – and that's kind of why I'm saying it'll be Tyreek Hill. But I don't think Tom Brady's going to post any gaudy numbers. And he would probably get it just because he's the quarterback. But I don't see anyone else getting it, honestly. Right? I just don't. Mm-hmm. And if there's a dark horse MVP for the Bucs, I love your Scotty Miller pick, by the way. Love it. Mm-hmm. But I actually got something different for you. I actually think it would end up being Shaquille Barrett or Rob Gronkowski, actually, for my dark horse. And the reason why I picked Rob Gronkowski and not like Mike Evans or Antonio Brown is because I'm really stuck on this abuse the middle of the field against the Chiefs. I'm really stuck on that, and I think Rob Gronkowski would be perfect for that. So I'm imagining.
Yeah, I'm not against you on that take, because I think Gronk could have a big game. The only thing that I kind of put a knock on that is BA doesn't love utilizing tight ends in the passing game. Now Gronk is different, but BA I don't think has ever had a 100-yard tight end in a single game ever.
No, I don't recall him having one either. But I was imagining like a 9-catch, 80-yard, 2-touchdown performance by Gronkowski.
I mean, maybe we'll see, because I think like he would have to like make those like outside the red zone touchdowns. Because honestly, I think if if the Buccaneers are getting the red zone, they're either running it with Rojo or Fournette, or they're probably going to throw it to Mike Evans because that's who Tom Brady has loved in the red zone recently. If you've really watched, is he's starting to target Mike Evans more in the red zone. So I like it. I like the Gronk pick, and I could totally see him having a big game just because it's Tom Brady and Gronk in a Super Bowl, not on the Patriots. So I can totally see it. So I like the pick. I also like the Shaq Bear pick. That was going to be my number 2 dark horse, but I really, really wanted to go kind of hot with it. It's been a while since I had like a super hot take.
I love the Scotty.
So I wanted to throw I wanted to throw the Scotty Miller one in there.
So, hey man, now that we're talking about it, I'm actually getting excited for this. I can't wait actually now. It's funny, before the pod I was like, dude, I don't know, it just doesn't feel like the Super Bowl. But now I'm hyped, dude. I'm ready. I want Sunday to come now. I'm so excited. I'm glad we did this.
Yeah, I'm ready for it too. I'm kind of I don't know if I said it on the pod or not, but I know me and Sanders were talking previously before we started recording, and I was just kind of saying how this season has been so incredibly long. I feel like, and part of it is like you said, it's because it's not like I'm a professional or anything, but I've covered this season more than any season ever. You know, doing a podcast every week. You know, I have my sports Twitter now that I've had for like 2 years now that really started to gain traction and blow up just this football season. And, you know, I'm about to hit the 700 follower mark, which isn't, you know, huge, but, you know, it's another mark. So like I followed this season a lot. It's been super long. Like I thought about it. I was like, the Cardinals game week 1 versus the 49ers feels like years ago at this point. And it was really only just last September. So, yeah, it's going to be for such a weird year, weird football season to finally kind of put it to rest and, you know, really get into this off-season news that we've been really excited to talk about. And we've talked off the show about it. We got really big guests coming up that we're really, really super excited for. You guys won't have to wait too much longer to figure out who it is. But, yeah, man, it's, you know, the end of the season's coming, which is unfortunate. We kind of got our first weekend taste of no football, and that was kind of miserable last Sunday. I didn't watch the Madden Pro Bowl, by the way. I know my quarterback won it, but I didn't watch it. But
I watched it for 5 minutes. You want to know? You want me to give you a summary of what the Pro Bowl was?
I kind of saw highlights, but yeah, go ahead.
So imagine a Twitch stream, right, where it's like a bunch of even if it's a popular streamer, if friends get on it. Mm-hmm. It no longer becomes a professional stream. It just becomes people hanging out, and you're watching your favorite streamer hang out with people, and then their friends don't have professional mics, so you hear, you know, like scratching when they yell, right?
Right.
Yeah, when like Kyler Murray was yelling because he only has a gaming headset on, right? When he yelled, it was scratching. I'm like, oh no, we have like scratching level voices on professional TV for the Pro Bowl. Oh no.
Yeah.
So I mean, it was cool to watch.
So I didn't watch it.
It was cool to watch them get hyped over it, right? Like, I enjoyed watching Kyler Murray, Snoop Dogg, Marshawn Lynch.
Kind of wild that Deshaun Watson made an appearance on there.
Yeah. I forget who else was playing the game.
Jamal Adams.
Yes, Jamal Adams was playing. But I'm trying to remember like the other like guest who was on Jamal Adams' team.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember as well.
It was Bubba Wallace. I think it was.
That's right.
It was like Bubba Wallace, and then there was like Derrick Henry and Keyshawn Johnson. Like it was fun. I'm not gonna lie, it was fun.
And you know I hate Keyshawn Johnson. That's another reason why I didn't watch it. I was like, Keyshawn Johnson was on here? Yeah, I ain't watching.
It was fun. But at the end of the day, it was just like, oh, this is literally just a glorified Twitch stream. It wasn't even like a professionally done, you know, showing of a Madden game. It was literally a Twitch stream setup. Like, they didn't use Twitch, but it was just a Twitch stream set up with Twitch stream mics. And when they got, you know, hyped and yelling, it was like, oh, there's the scratchy voice that the mics can't handle because you're being too loud. Oh, yikes. Oh, this is professional TV. They thought this was a good idea. Or maybe, you know, it's just a bunch of boomers on the network who didn't know that was going to happen. So, and they still, I think the funniest thing was like, not Cynthia Fruland, the other blonde for the NFL Network. And I don't mean to like say that in a degrading way for her. I just forget what her name is. It wasn't Cynthia Fruland though. It was the other girl. But she had like a halftime and she interviewed like Kyler Murray, like, "Hey, how'd you feel about missing that throw or whatever?" And it was kind of funny to watch him. He's like, well. He's like, I just misread it and I pressed the button way too soon, and like he's like, I shouldn't have done that, but I'll get him next time. It was, I don't know, it was just so awkward to watch. And after I watched with 3 minutes left in the second quarter, went through halftime, I was like, this ain't for me. Click. That was the Pro Bowl, an over glorified Twitch stream with NFL players.
Unfortunate.
Well, you know what, dude? Even if COVID wasn't happening, I don't think it would have been much better. Two-hand touch Pro Bowl ain't my thing either.
Yeah, it's not great.
Dude, I'd rather them just play flag football. I'm being honest. I would rather them just play flag football, because at least they'd have some sort of physical contact. Anyway, that's pretty much it from us. Do you got anything else for the Super Bowl, or are you good?
No, man. I think we're all good. I'm ready for it all to be over, so we can finally hit the off season. We got some really good. What I think we got some really good content coming up, and I'm excited to talk on a show that's not about a game every week.
Yeah, that'll be nice. So I'm so happy we have over 120 viewers and over 20 subscribers. Thank you so much again. If you haven't subscribed, please do. We're humble. We're hungry. We're so ready to keep this going. It excites us so much. We're ready for the off season. Of course, we're going to enjoy the Super Bowl. We're probably going to have a post-Super Bowl episode. We haven't discussed it yet. We might be taking some time off after the Super Bowl, just 1 week. Well deserved on our part, but we'll see what our plans are and what our guest scheduling is going to look like. But yeah, again, thank you so much. We are so happy. We like that you guys are listening, and there's no way for us to thank you enough. You got anything, Pardue?
No, man. I'm chilling. Thanks, guys.
Hey,
I mean, you kind of already said it.
hey, you know what? No one gives a fuck about Pardue anyway. It's all me on this show. Alrighty, I love my man over here, by the way. Love him. I couldn't do this without him. So, anyways, we will see you guys next week. Enjoy the Super Bowl. Have fun. If you're a Tom Brady hater, man, I hope you're crying on Sunday. I really do. So, that's it from us. We'll see you guys next week.